Yes, welcome, my brothers, welcome, sisters, welcome to our program. Welcome to our program today on Studio Galaxy 473 in Conferro. And as we start this program, we encourage you to like the program, share the program. We are the new kids on the block, and this is the agriculture section of Studio Galaxy 473. And you are with the Galaxy Equalizers. Our brother Joshua is here today as we venture, we dare, and we provoke discussion. Is there a role for small ruminant in agriculture? Is there a case, is there a good case for us to develop this small ruminant industry in Grenada? Particularly sheep and goat. And we could also put rabbit too. Mm-hmm. Is there a case? If there is a case, then why not? Joshua, is there a case, Joshua?
Yes,
develop.
Yes, Mr. Pierre, there definitely is a case. I have some, confessions to make about small ruminants. So let me get it out of the way straight away. Growing up in Bel Air, or the bottom end of this area, I had the job of tying the goats in the morning before I did anything, and I have to confess, I didn't like it. Sometimes the grass was wet on my foot. I didn't like going, so I used to tie it anyway. So they used to say I tying it on cocoa. So they want to catch me and beat me, but they can't catch me. So that's my experience.
The market in Grenada for sheep and goat cannot be satisfied. Mm-hmm. The price for mutton and goat is high. The principal feed they use is grass. So, why is it that industry, why is it small ruminant is not being seriously developed in Grenada? Why? This is not necessarily pointing hands at government, at the Ministry of Agriculture, the farmer. We're pointing at everybody. Mm-hmm. There are one stage in Grenada where 300 to 500 animals weekly was exported to Trinidad and Tobago. 300 to 500 sheep and goat on a weekly basis, every Tuesday, was exported to Trinidad and Tobago. They both live in Carriacou, they both live in St. George's, they both live in Grenville. Mm-hmm. At that time, mutton was about $5 or $6 a pound. Today, sheep and goat, and you hear adding mutton too. Yeah. Because in local parlance, we call all of them mutton.
Yeah.
So people say they prefer goat, but sometimes they don't know when food cook, they don't know whether it's mutton or whether it's goat. Yeah. The price now is between 15 and upwards.
Yeah.
Maybe the goat might be 20, 25. Mm-hmm. But on the road, $12, $15.
Yeah. Well, it tends to be $15 for the goat, maybe a little less for the sheep, but it's certainly up there, and there's certainly a case to be made for it in terms of rearing sheep or rearing goats. What we have to do is to...
Joshua, you think it's money? You think it's funding?
I don't think it's funding. I think it's more to do with lifestyle. I think our lifestyle has moved away from an agrarian lifestyle to more of a town or city lifestyle, whereby we looking for a job or we're more comfortable with a job. We don't want to have a job or a task in the morning when we get up to look after the animals. But I think what has happened is, as the generation has passed on, one of the things we've not been very good at is passing on from generation to generation in written form the benefits of what we do. I remember being in the UK, in London, and somebody telling me that their father, used to rear cows in Nevis, and he was able to rear his cows and look after his family, build a house, send them to England, etc., all from rearing cows. And he made a great living in Little Nevis from just rearing cows. And again, when you look at goat, the demand for goat, $15 a pound, that's a decent price these days. And what you have is that goat only come out in terms of festive seasons, maybe Christmas, or where we have festivities, it comes up. So most of the time in Grenada, we don't have goat meat available for the local market, yet alone supermarkets, yet alone even thinking about hotels. And we have the modern facilities now in terms of butchering, where we could take the goat and have it butchered properly. Now, the same could be said for sheep. And I always remember with sheep, I have a cousin who's very, very bright. Actually, she's a doctor. And I remember I used to say, sheeps. And she said, what's wrong with you? Sheeps? It's not sheep, it's sheep. It doesn't matter how many they have, it's sheep. So, equally, the cost of feed hasn't gone up as far as I know. I know people that put the cost of beef up, and I just wonder, has the cost of grass gone up? Because it's grass-fed cows that we're dealing with. So I don't know how they could say the cost is going up, unless they're having to pay more for the grass to feed
it might
the
be
cow.
jealousy. Everything going up. What's up? Putting up somebody too. You know good.
So a little jealousy they want to put up on it. But I think the goats and the sheep, I think we have to look at doing it maybe a little different, rather than having 20 pieces of rope that we pull in along the rope. Maybe we can fence them, in an acre, and say we have 25 goat, and in that acre we cut the acre into 4. So we just move them from area to area in terms of feeding, so that once they feed in 1/4 acre and that is a little bit dry, we allow it to grow again, and we move them to the next 1/4 acre, and we keep going like that, so they'll always have feed. What's important is we have a water source for them that they can get, and sometimes just as we do cash crops and we have to do shade netting, we may have to think about shade netting above ground as well in terms of the animals, but certainly in the night we can do a cost-effective shed where they can where we can corral them into, and that would be good. But there is definitely a living to be made from small ruminants, be it goat, be it sheep, be it rabbits, whatever else that we have. Even chickens, I speak about chickens all the time, but a lot of people say that, they like to do the eggs, a small plot like 100 layers, 200 layers. Some like to do the broiler chickens where they do 300, etc. My advice has always been, you could make a living from growing broiler chicken if you grow 3,000. That tends to be the minimum amount that you should grow if you want to make a commercial living from chicken. And equally, in terms of goats, I'm not sure about any stable prices for purchasing the goats, but I think they tend to sell for about $400-$500 for a goat. I'm not quite sure how much pounds that is. I guess it will vary on the size. So you have to have some kind of cost of production. So
Joshua, you spoke about fencing.
uh-huh.
And perhaps we should spend some time on fencing.
Uh-huh.
Most time, people hear fencing and they say it's expensive.
Yeah.
And that is not necessarily true.
Right. I think fencing is very important because it makes your work quite light. And then if you do fencing properly, there's various ways that you can do it using the materials that you have around you or you have in the land. I know, Mr. Pierre, you and I had a conversation about using certain types of trees, and maybe you can share that because the trees that you were suggesting is the trees that also can be used to feed the ruminants. So remind us of that. You had about 3 or 4 trees.
Yes, people could use glory cedar.
Uh-huh.
Good old glory cedar.
And I remember that growing up. Glory cedar.
When you plant in the fencing, you treat it like a cup.
Mm-hmm.
You tend to maybe run a line. Sometimes we believe we eyesight good and we could put things straight.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes we can't even get a hole to go in straight. So it's good to run a line and run it away from the boundary. Some people want to put the fencing right in the boundary.
Mm-hmm.
You must able to walk comfortably behind your bound.
Yeah.
So minimum 3 feet
Mm-hmm.
away from your boundary.
Mm-hmm.
And you can plant glory cedar.
Mm-hmm.
Glory cedar is one of the forage material that the sheep, the goat would eat.
Yeah.
So you plant glory cedar. You can also plant trichantera. Trichantera have a very high source of protein.
Uh-huh.
And it stands up well in the dry season.
Okay.
It grows very fast.
Right.
So you have glory cedar, you have trichantera.
Mm-hmm.
You can also plant leucaena.
Yeah, leucaena has been used as a form of protein in animal feed in Africa, and I think somebody experimented with that in Grenada, a group called Protein from Waste. So there's a lot of protein content in that crop.
And then you can use moringa.
Yeah.
We say moringa.
Yeah.
Say moringa. Moringa. Moringa.
Yeah.
That again is good food for human being.
Uh-huh.
Some herbalists saying all kind of things. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know much about medicine.
Yeah.
But you could eat it.
Yeah.
You could eat moringa.
Yeah.
Or munga.
Munga.
You could eat it.
My
I think
auntie
we
cooks
more
it.
accustomed with munga.
Yeah.
They used to say them Indians used to eat a lot of munga.
Yeah, my auntie who's Indian, she cooks it and cooks it.
In
very
Grenada,
nice.
there's no difference between Indian and Negro. No difference. All of them is Grenadian now. In some areas in Moya, Confrance area, Paul's, Livera, there are some areas where people consume a lot of munga.
Uh-huh.
Some of the
Power
individuals use the seed in the pod,
Mm-hmm.
and they use some of the very young pod. So it appears that moringa or munga is a very good foraging material for small ruminants, and it's good for human being too.
Yeah, very good.
So you have glory cedar, you have leucaena, you have trichantera, you have moringa.
Yeah, and you know it's wonderful if you can grow your own feed for the animals. I mean, it even reduces further on your cost of production. On average, Mr. Pierre, you have an idea how long it'll take these trees to start kind of throwing out leaves and things?
Well, if you plant Gory cedar, maybe in 6 months, but if you're going to use it as posts, you'll have to have more sturdy posts if you want to use it quickly. But if you're working with a plan, after a year or two, these trees will be providing food for you and food for the animals.
Yeah.
So you could write on the fence and you could pass around. That's why I always encourage people, do not fence your land on your boundary.
Yeah.
It's a bad habit people have. They want all the land and they want to pass in other people's land. So you fence your land about 3 feet minimum away from your boundary, so you could comfortably walk behind your land. And based upon the quantity of land you have, 4 or 5 feet is not uncommon. You could plant it, and then you could plant other tree crops away from the fencing. So what you're doing is maximizing the productivity in your land. You're fencing the land.
Right.
And it's a good thing to fence your land. It would seriously reduce praedial larceny. And while on praedial larceny, I don't agree with a lot of Grenadians. Praedial larceny is not necessarily a big problem in Grenada. Well, I know of some farmers going to come after me.
Yeah. I had a family member who lost 3 animals this week, so he's fuming.
He is definitely going to come after me.
Yeah.
and Mr. Samuel lost about 400 pounds of saffron
Lord.
in Moya.
Oh.
So Mr. Samuel going to come after me too.
Yeah.
You're going to say hush your mouth on this program talking about praedial larceny, and I lose 400 pounds of saffron.
Oh, that's terrible.
And I understand the saffron sold right in front of the door. It was sold so quick because Grenadians like all down on independence.
Yeah.
Bang! 400 pounds of saffron gone. All people pass it. And the variety of saffron they have was a unique one from Ethiopia.
Oh, poor.
So Mr. Samuel was raging mad.
Yeah.
And if you hear me on radio saying praedial larceny, I can't even pronounce the word.
Don't worry, you're not Paul Scoot.
Praedial larceny is not a big problem in Grenada. But yes, every now and then, the farmer is going to cry. I met a farmer the last time, jumping up, he have his cutlass, scraping it on the ground.
Oh, dear.
And I say to him, just one planting you lose, you're making a mountain noise. I said, more crops are spoiling in your land as a result of rodents and bad harvesting practice. Well, he doesn't talk to me, but every time I pass, I just wave him and call him. I see he's smiling now.
Yeah.
So just now we go start to drinking.
But our people or our men, they can be very ticklish.
Yeah, touchy.
They
And
touch
he-
you.
I mean, the way he was getting on, I thought was Tabanka he had, you know.
Yeah.
They take his big bunch of planting. So yes, every now and then, the praedial larceny is going to seriously affect us, but we must not get too emotional about it.
Yeah.
And that's why we encourage people to fence your land.
Yeah.
You could grow livestock, small ruminant, and at the same time fence your land. And we have 3 types of people involved in praedial larceny. I think you must know that. One of the group of people that involved in praedial larceny, about less than 5% of them, you can't stop them. There's nothing you could do to stop them. They are the professional thieves. They go in your land, they timing you properly, and they're taking some things. They may come back in the next 2-3 months.
Yeah. They do a proper assessment when to go and when to take.
They hit you a nice slash, but you know. Then you have a group according to where you live in. If you according to where you live in. There are some areas in Grenada you could grow tanya and you don't have no problem. In some areas, don't plant tanya. Plant dash. I mean, you have to be understanding.
You have to know your place.
Know your place. Because if you're living in a low socioeconomic area where people are unemployed and you have more income is not readily available. You might have people foraging on your land. They want a blog of the past. They say, we want to cook oil down. Go and look for a breadfruit. While they get a breadfruit, they get some carlo too, and they get some saffron, and 2 grain of fig and some blogger.
They take a lunch.
They might take a little cabbage from you too. And if you hold them, then the whole video, oh God, it's first time. And if you is Joshua and you bring them up for 2 coconuts, the whole country saying you're a wicked man. 2 coconuts, the man take.
And I bring them up. Neville John had sent one to jail for 1 coconut.
Yeah. I think it was a Dr. Coconut.
Yeah, Dr. Coconut.
People don't even want to go to the doctor. He says a wicked man.
Yeah.
2 coconuts.
One.
I don't want to get arrested for coconut.
Yeah, so fencing the land would prevent or seriously diminish the people who graze on your land because of the economic situation. They don't really, people tend to have a high tolerance. They say, I figure 2 planting, you take 2 grain of planting.
Yeah.
Stop here, leaving.
But if you have 22 people taking 2 grain
Yeah.
in your land, you're in serious trouble.
Yeah.
It adds up.
Yeah, and they always quick to tell you that you shouldn't worry until it comes to death. Then it's a different story. Let me say something, because we were expecting a group from Canada to be on the show this morning. I just saw a message on my phone that they're on their way here, so we might have to include them a little bit later on. The message was sent about 10 minutes ago, so they should be here before the show ends.
Well, we might lengthen the program to accommodate them later.
Yeah.
So, we're speaking about, is there a case for small ruminant in Grenada? Principally sheep and goat.
Yeah.
And Joshua said without any hesitation, yes.
There's absolutely a case for that. There's a good economic argument for that. There's a scarcity in terms of those small ruminants. So you'll be doing a national service if you start rearing goats. The thing that I can't help you with it, I haven't done the math in terms of how much money you could make. So let's say 10 goats selling for $500 each. That's what, 5,000.
So there are a number of areas where we're going to prove to you that it's beneficial. Because if you fence the land, you would have to use less chemical. Because areas that you want is going to do grazing.
Yeah.
And if you have cocoa and nutmeg, you still could fence the land and do some grazing there.
Yeah.
The animals, some areas you may have to use sheep, and some areas you could use sheep and goat. But if you're able to fence your land, you hear we speak about praedial larceny. We're going to seriously diminish praedial larceny.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the people who graze in your land, your cousin, your nene, and your aunt, the people around the community who say, let me go and see if I get a breadfruit to make a little oil down. And they take 2 color little leaf and a coconut and some cabbage one time. But when 22 people doing that, there is some serious 2 grain. So they would not jump over your fence. Then some of the individuals on drugs, they're looking to grab something quick.
Yeah.
They doesn't bother to watch. They want the coke so bad. They does not bother to watch whether you're doing the land or not. So you're going to seriously reduce this group too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter about those group alone, because we seem to have a situation where a lot of people don't respect other people's property. I had planted some ginger on the side of my land.
that's right.
Yeah, and then the people clearing the road, the bushing people just decided, well, they could take it.
Well, they thought maybe it was our road. Remember, the government wanted to plant our road by the road.
Yeah.
So fencing your land is a good idea.
It's a very
and
good idea.
we are trying to advance the argument that it is not necessarily expensive.
Yeah.
Because if you plant the gloricida, the leucinia, the trichantera 4 feet apart or 3 feet apart, then you can use barbed wire, you can use old galvanized. People are always changing the galvanized in the house, and they don't know what to do with it. You, the farmer, could collect the galvanized. You could use crate. You could use sometimes you see a fridge door. You could collect that and put there too.
Yeah.
So because you have a good, the foraging material, you almost establish a biological fence.
Right.
It is not that expensive. So you could fence your land. And over a period, you will shock to know the amount of material waste you could pick up after 1 or 2 years. You could graze your sheep inside your farm and your animals. And that would seriously, you would no longer have to buy chemicals for weeding purpose.
Right. Okay. That's good. And then you could also sell some of that.
Yes.
And supplement your income.
So in addition to selling the sheep, the manure, because you would have a specific, more protected area where these animals sleep, where you give them water, where you put your mineral block. You could even old bread from the waste of food. These animals would eat it. And then you will collect the manure, the feces material from the sheep where they sleep, and you can sell that.
Yeah. And I think next week there was a gentleman who has a project coming up towards the third quarter of this year. He currently works with this SAEP or SIAP group, but they're having a new program. And he spoke to me about doing something similar in terms of, small ruminants. So I'll invite him on the program next week so that he can share a bit more, so that those people who are interested, who think it's a good idea, they'll have more information to develop and build on. But I think it's a great idea.
Inside here, we provoking discussion. If you have 4 or 5 farmers in a particular locality, a location, they land boundary together. They could work independently, yet collectively.
That's right.
So the fence in the land, each of them efforts is rewarded based upon the energy they put in it. But they're working together. So they fence all their land. So take a simple thing like one person animal getting away. You wouldn't cause all hell to break loose on any meeting. The extension officer visiting that area, easy to conduct training session because you meet 5 or 6 farmers in that locality. All of them rearing livestock. And we're speaking about rearing small ruminant while you have your cocoa, your banana, your block, or your fig, your nutmeg. You could even sectionize your land. So there are certain areas you may not put animal there for 2 years because you might be growing vegetable there.
Right.
But when you harvest the vegetable, you bring the animal there and overgraze.
Okay. Yeah.
So you don't have a problem to use chemical or clearing the land.
Yeah. Have we told the listeners the number to call in, or is it on the...
It's running on the screen there.
536-2558.
Yeah.
536-2558. Yeah? So you can call in and make your contribution.
Yeah.
We provoking discussion on this program. We want people to discuss the issue, the merits and demerits, the benefits, the plus. We are just provoking discussion. If Grenada have the most land owners in the region, and I would not surprise in the world, Donald Trump just cut off U.S. aid from South Africa, and I agree with him too. South Africa decided to not to sell some American products, etc. because of that. South Africa is dealing with a land issue today that Gary dealt with years ago. And all governments after continue in that policy.
Yeah.
So now that we have the land, we are discussing issue where farmers could maximize the potential of the land.
Yeah, and that subject you touch on, Mr. Pierre. Let me just demystify it a little bit and look at the consequences. Now, we have a situation, not only has South Africa been denied funding by the U.S., but the U.S. has frozen for 90 days all U.S. aid project. That includes HIV project. But Elon Musk, who is a South African and is involved in terms of the apartheid system whereby the white farmers own the vast majority of the land, and the government is trying to get an equitable solution to the land problem. There's an attitude that the land belonged to the whites, and the blacks who've been there centuries and centuries before the whites came have nothing. So they're grappling with that. And as Mr. Pierre has said, Eric Gary dealt with this problem to a degree for us. But I think there is, sometimes when there is disaster, and I think Mr. Pierre used to say there's opportunity. And I think South Africa and the rest of the world now have an opportunity to look at how they develop and look at how they pay for their services. Now, if you look at the converse side of what America has done, we are not American citizens. We don't pay American taxes. Why do we expect that America will continue to support our program? This is an opportunity for us to be self-reliant, for the world who's been receiving aid to be self-sufficient. Self-help is the key. And we're fortunate in Grenada that Eric Gary started the process. Now, what we have to do is to show that we can benefit from the work that people like himself did, and many others would have helped him as well, and make the land productive. That is what we have to do.
And on that point, remember the number to call is 536-2558. And somewhere later on, we might be joined by others. We provoke discussion. We are saying there is a case for us to seriously increase the quantity, the amount of sheep and goat that we have. We are saying that farmers have land. Quite a lot of farmers live on the land. Mm-hmm. What we're encouraging you to do is to have more livestock. You cannot have livestock tying it all about the place in other people's land. They will kill it. And I agree with them.
Yeah.
What we're saying is to fence the land. Mm-hmm. Every time we hear fencing, we say money. Mm-hmm. We are advancing the view that it is not that expensive. Mm-hmm. Start by the post you plant. We suggested gloricida. We suggested moringa and munga, tricantera, leucemia, damsel. You might come up with other products. Mm-hmm. And all the foraging material we are suggesting, animals love it, and human beings could eat some of them. Mm-hmm. We are saying that if you have sheep grazing, then you would not have to have all this money spent on weeding, because we spend a lot of money weeding the grass that you don't want. But the sheep or the goat would eat that grass. And you can grow your fig and your banana with controlled grazing. Yes, the sheep might do a little damage to some crop, but you're going to walk out for the fact that you don't have to pay to weed, the fact that it is not necessary for you to use chemical. The sheep itself will be providing organic material, fertilizer for the plants, and you can get a source of meat from it. You can even sell the waste from the sheep. If you get sophisticated, you can even design your pen in such a manner that you can collect the urine from the small ruminant and use it like fertilizer. We believe 4 or 5 farmers in a particular area could work together. We're always very individualistic. But you could work together. 4 or 5 farmers working individually, separately, yet collectively. For instance, you could help one another fence the land. You could share the breeding stock, your breeding material. So if one man get a ram sheep, everybody don't have to buy a ram. This one use the ram sheep or the he-goat, and after a period of time, you don't want incest. You don't want them start breeding their daughters because you're not a breeding farm. Then another person could use their ram and you could help manage it. It is easier for the extension officer coming in the area, providing technical help and assistance for 5 farmers, have discussion, workshop, rather than running behind 5 different farmers on different occasions. Market is not a problem. The price of a pound of mutton is about $15 to $20. So you don't have a problem for market. And grass, most of these animals are grass-fed. Some farmers, when they keep them in pen, they would use some small ruminant feed now and then, particularly if you have mothers taking care of the younger ones to assist them. And in your pen, you can have mineral block. You don't have to race to the lumber yard. You could use old galvanized. Even the drums that they come with tarring, you could use it to help to build your pen. The bags that cover cement, you notice they have a material now that they bring the cement bags in. These bags just go to waste. You could use these bags to help to bar around with your animals. We just had a hurricane in Carriacou that did serious damage to the housing stock. All these galvanized, the old galvanized, could have been used for the pens and to help for fencing material. It is not expensive. And you have the time. Many of you have the time. Some of you are full-time farmers. You could spend some time and fence your land and grow livestock. We believe there is a case for it. The manner in which we're not going very far. I don't think the Ministry of Agriculture or the University of the West Indies could tell us how much sheep or how much goats you have to rear to make an income of $3,000 a month. You notice a stock on that. I always use 3,000 because and I want that people to understand that is the threshold that we use to determine whether government is going to tax you. So if your income is more than $3,000, government is going to charge you personal income tax. If it is less than $3,000, you're not paying income tax. So this discussion is principally to provoke discussion. Stay with us. We're going to just break for a minute or two, and we'll back with you again. Thank you very much. Welcome back again to Studio Galaxy 473 in Confer, and we are on the agriculture program, and we was discussing, is there a role, is there a case for small ruminant in Grenada? And Joshua said without any doubt, yes. We provoke discussion on our program, and we are joined by some others this morning. They are all Galaxy equalizers. When we on this program, we are the Galaxy equalizers. So we have some friends that join us this morning, and it seems as though they want to find out what's going on here and how they could participate, how they could involve, and we need ideas. We want to discuss this issue. We want people to start discussing issues, whether you're in the university, whether you're in the rum shop, whether you're in agriculture. All ideas, put it on the table, and let's make the best use of it. My brother, start.
Thanks a lot. It's good to be here. My name's David Parks. I'm from Dalhousie University, Faculty of Agriculture. We're a university in Nova Scotia, Canada. And I'm here with my colleague, Lana Boss. We're actually here to learn more about agriculture on the island, learn about your priorities. It's funny you said, whether it's a university, it's a rum shop, or because you can't have rum without agriculture, so it's all connected.
Yes, we provoke discussion. Sister,
Yes.
once we have a lady among us, she gets priority.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Yeah.
I'm pleased to be here. My name is Lana Boss. I'm manager of international at Dalhousie University Faculty of Agriculture. We've actually been working in region for over 20 years on Canadian government-funded projects here. So we're just wrapping up a project in St. Lucia on climate-smart agriculture, as well as we're wrapping up one in Dominica, and we've been in Dominica for 10 years. We've also worked in St. Kitts and Nevis, and we're pleased to be in Grenada. It's our first time here.
Well, welcome in Grenada. You've been in Dominica, you've been in St. Lucia, you've been around, and you've been from the university. I always chastise the university for not doing enough for agriculture in the Caribbean. I normally go after the University of the West Indies because the University of the West Indies are practically owned by the Caribbean people. And I believe they are the one that's supposed to be the thinkers. They are the one that we're supposed to have discussion. They are the one that we how do you say, think tank. A think tank. Because that's supposed to be our best brain. So I'm particularly interested in you here, and would like this discussion, because I believe that we're speaking about livestock here, and we see no reason why we cannot expand the amount of small ruminants we have. Grenada have the most land owners in the region. We just had a little fun with South Africa and my brother Donald Trump. But we as a result of that, people have freehold. They own the land. And they have a sense about it, a proprietor. I'm a landowner, you know. Okay. So now we're encouraging why we don't maximize the energy, the returns from the land. And although we have small ruminant, sheep, and every time I'm saying sheep and goat, because goat tend to be more destructive than sheep where the land is concerned. Graze on the land, fence the land, rear sheep, cut down on the chemical that you're using, and that's going to play well with the environment. You don't need to bring all this poison because the sheep going to eat the weed. Yep. And then the sheep is going to defecate, and then that is manure. And where you put the sheep to live or to sleep in the night for dogs and thief not to take them, you collect the urine, and that is manure again. So we don't understand why this discussion is not taking place.
So I grew up in a sheep farm in Nova Scotia.
That's great.
And it was a smallholder farm, so we had between 20 and 30 sheep. So it wasn't, by our standards, it wasn't a large farm. And exactly what you said, it provides a free source of fertilizer and manure. The profits from sheep are quite high. They give multiple births. They do have predators. Goats have probably a higher survival rate than sheep. They're a bit quicker to get away from predators, but it's a very good question why you don't do it, because small land holdings are sort of perfect for small ruminants. And there is a demand in the meat, definitely domestically, but even regionally, you could probably fill some markets. So, it's interesting you mentioned universities. So we work at a university. We used to be a college. We were a farm college, a community college for over 100 years. We're now part of a faculty of university, but we still have that ethos of training for skills, training for employment, hands-on learning when it comes to agriculture. And we're actually here working with TAMCC. So we're, I wouldn't say working. We're exploring relationships on how we can support sort of Grenada's national development objectives around agriculture, and see if there is a space here, be it livestock, be it crop production, be it agro-processing value addition. But to the question of small ruminants, it surprises me that there is a question of whether it's a good thing. I think it would be more the how and what sort of training does someone who currently doesn't have that livestock and doesn't have that skill, but has the space. So what sort of training do they need to keep their animals healthy, to get them to market at the right time, at the right weight, get as much money from them, or get them to a good weight if they're consuming them themselves. So I think it's not if, it's how.
Yes, and perhaps it's because we are exporters of cocoa and nutmeg. And at one time that was very good for the farmers. Almost a farmer would have 1 acre and instead of cocoa. And you have a nutmeg. And goats tend to be very destructive, more destructive with the farm animals. So I don't know if it's that mentality that contribute to it. And a lot of people don't fence land. Right. So perhaps we could have the discussion. I'm very happy that you see National College, because our students coming from National College, a lot of them looking for job. And I would bet that the majority of them parents have land.
Yeah. Oh, we see that in
have land.
Like St. Lucia. We were working in climate smart crop production. Whole generation, actually, they're going on to their second generation that isn't farming. So the grandparents were farmers. The parents who are, say, in their 50s never farmed. And now those young people who are, say, under 20 aren't farming either. So you have two generations that have let land lay fallow. There's a ton of land, but there's no two things. One is perhaps agriculture isn't interesting to young people. They might prefer some other work that isn't agriculture, that isn't land-based. And then there's the risk factor. You have a violent climate here. You have a rainy season that seems to, it's not a season anymore. It rains. Big winds. I don't know if you have crop insurance or farmers insurance here in Grenada, but in Canada there's a sort of a security you pay into your insurance, but that if crops don't produce or there's a weather event, you still get paid out. So you're asking young people here to take a risk on something that doesn't have a lot of security in it. You're sort of beholden to commodity pricing, which as well as a sector that has become seems to have become less popular. So part of our mission is to get young people interested in agriculture, to see that agriculture is wealth. It's also health. We need food. Everyone loves to eat, but it seems like fewer people are interested in growing the food.
Well, it has to be a mentality, because I tell people, when you're in agriculture, you cannot stop. You make money.
Of course.
And some of the richest people in Grenada were farmers. Mm-hmm. They own the big land. And then their children go to university and abandon the land. Sometimes I see these individuals are commission agent for the multinational corporation. They were sent to go and study to get initiative. When they come back, they abandon the farmer and the land. So I am very happy that National College is perhaps a good way for us to have a lot of discussion on that. To let people know you make money in the land. And if you have a 5-acre block of land, that plot could be developed and you could make more money than a teacher. You could make more than $3,000 a month. I always use $3,000 because that is the threshold government charge a tax on.
Right.
I like to make just a little $2,999. So once you pay $3,000, so a lot of the farmers, government don't charge farmers tax on agricultural land. Although government charging a lot of tax on they say small holdings, they say that residential. But generally, and government provide 100% concession for farmers to buy vehicles. So you see a lot of farmers with 4-wheel drive vehicle, they get 100% concession. Yet, their children don't go in land.
Well,
so
it's a hard work. It's hard.
So it has to be the National College, obviously.
So it's hard work. It's hard work to go into agriculture, and I think you have to recognize that farmers work hard. They do make money, but it's hard work and it has uncertainty, or it can have uncertainty, especially in these hurricanes. Some of the. I mean, look at you have 2 hurricanes in a row and it can knock down your trees and they're gone for a generation, right? So you're asking people to take risks, which is a correct thing to do. It's how capitalism works. You want to make an investment, take a risk, it can pay off. But I think it's important when you're talking to young people, agriculture, someone has to get their hands in the dirt if we're going to eat.
Yeah, that's one thing I tell people. I don't like to hear people say that is dirty. Soil is not dirty. Soil is money.
Yeah, soil
you
is
have
money.
Diamonds in soil and gold, and you have agriculture. It's not dirt.
No.
If you dress up and flower fall on you, that's dirt. You don't want it. But I think yes, you will have so soil itself. We start to use the word with soil as dirt, but soil is not dirt. It might be a contaminant if you write in a book and you have a clean paper and they put soil on it. Then that But when you in the soil, it can't be seen as dirty.
No, and it keeps us alive.
And it keeps us alive.
But I would say you can participate in agriculture without working with soil. So say you grow tomatoes. You might grow tomatoes, but I don't want to grow tomatoes, but I can get your tomatoes and I can make a sauce out of those tomatoes.
Yeah.
I can sell that sauce and I'm part of the process, but I'm not producing the product. So you can speak to a whole group of people that don't see themselves in agriculture because they associate it with soil or the uncertainty of commodity pricing, where if you insert yourself at a processing level and a value addition level, you can participate too. So I think young people, need to be encouraged to look at sort of the entire value chain of agriculture and change that mentality of it's I'm only raising goats or I'm only growing tomatoes. It's saying where else can I be? How can I add value and make some money in the process?
Yeah. I think our number to call here is 536-2558, and we have another brother from National College. So obviously, I must want to hear your voice. So we have a koozie section here, so we're going to just turn that mic towards you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, even better. Yes, we have our brother from T.A. Marishu Community College. Remember, I'm from the old stock. I ain't tongue wrong. So that's why I say National College. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pierre. We are certainly happy to have our colleagues from the Dalhousie University visiting Grenada this week. And as part of the visit is, as Lana said earlier, is for us to do an assessment of where we're at and how both institutions can partner. What I would like to share with the community is that the T.A. Marishu Community College is currently building out our capacity as it relates to training. Our Maribor Farm School right now is under renovation. We are renovating our dorms. We have our pig facility being upgraded. The new breeds of pigs will be housed at the Maribor Farm School, where we'll be actually responsible for that breed of pigs to increase our yields. So the college is positioning itself to partner with all our stakeholders, the Ministry of Agriculture, local businesses, to ensure that our students, prospective students who are thinking about training in agriculture, I'm asking persons out there to apply to our programs. We'll be increasing the number of programs as well. And with partnership with institutions like Dalhousie University, we'll be looking at research in different areas. We're looking at areas of agro-processing and some of the non-traditional areas in agriculture in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique that will be able to provide training, build capacity in our country, so the opportunities that are available, be it the lands that the Grenadians own, that they can start their own small business, be entrepreneurial, and look at opportunities in the market. And that's why TAMCC is there to assist our citizens and also other persons as well. And I would just like to share with the nation that we have ambition to become a center of excellence. And we're looking to partner with as many entities as possible. And that's the reason why we have, like I said, our colleagues from Nova Scotia, from Nova Scotia, but at Dalhousie University, who are here with us today. And we are very happy to begin discussions as it relates to how we can collaborate, how we can partner, how we can create pathways for our students in agriculture to even increase their qualifications and so on. So we're not only at the associate degree level, but also at the degree level, and to become specialists in various areas.
Well, that's information is very important for us. And as I say, we provoke discussion. People must know. We want people to know. We want people to discuss the issues. And obviously, you have more information from us, and we'll give you an opportunity perhaps to share it around the discussion with both of them. So I'm handing over back the mic to you now.
And we're just getting the lay of the land. As I mentioned, it's our first time here, but Grenada is ripe with agriculture. I mean, you've got green everywhere. You are an agriculture spice island. That's what you're known for. So we're just trying to identify, some of the challenges for young people getting into agriculture. As we know, it's a global challenge. Our youth don't want to do agriculture, but we've seen some really great successes when you add entrepreneurship and that business aspect to it, as well as non-traditional methods of agriculture, such as vertical gardening, throwing in some hydroponic gardening as well. So we've seen globally youth starting to get engaged again, which is really exciting.
Yeah, so thank you for that again. And just to add, when we look at, and Lana speak about hydroponics, that's the non-traditional agricultural systems. And at TAMCC, what we are going to do is to ensure that we have, the non-traditional systems in place, so at least our students would have the first-hand training with these technologies, aquaponics, hydroponics, and some of the new types of agriculture that is done internally as well. And we're talking about climate-smart agriculture. We're talking about the adverse effects of the weather. to have protected agriculture, that is, where you can grow crops in buildings. And we will not be in a position where we cannot feed ourselves, so to speak, after the major event from natural disasters such as hurricanes. So when at TAMCC, when we think about agriculture in Grenada going forward, and for prospective students who are out there thinking about agriculture or not encouraged to apply to the program because of the traditional way it's dirty, there are different forms of technology that is available to us right now. And what we are asking you to do is to consider it. And we would be out there with our stakeholders promoting what we do at TAMCC, so at least we are out in the public and we're giving persons an option. Not only one option, not two options, but many options, be it agro-processing, be it non-traditional agriculture, apiculture, livestock, or general agriculture. And we are looking to move into specialized areas, short-term training to build capacity, to train farmers, to upskill farmers, and again creating pathways for persons to actually upskill and to have advanced certification, not only at the associate degree level or the CVQ, NVQ level, but we are thinking about also at the degree level. So hence the reason, again, Dalhousie is really a good partner where persons can go from not just an associate, but to a bachelor's degree and above in that area and in different areas of specialization. So I'm just letting persons know that TAMCC is here and ready to train you.
And that's very exciting to create those pathways between TAMCC and institutions such as, ours, Dalhousie University, so that you could come for 2 years and get a Canadian degree from Dalhousie. I mean, you speak to the terrain here in Grenada, and you have, the ideal terrain to grow goats, back to ruminants, because you've got that love line that's everywhere. As you mentioned earlier, they will eat that. I mean, you can have the ruminants on lands where it's sometimes difficult to grow a traditional crop. So I think agriculture here could just really be honed and concentrated. I think if there's a little bit more collaboration on island and some training, perhaps, I think that you're prime to build your economy a little further.
How do we convince the children in National College, I think they're falling right in your up there, that agriculture could make money? And if a man has a small portion of land, whether he's planting, seasoning, small ruminant, beekeeping, that he could have a comfortable income source.
You have to have success stories. You have to tell success stories, which means you need to find, and they exist. Your agriculture is vibrant here. You're growing things, you're selling things, you see it in the markets, but you have to communicate that. I think it's how you market. Marketing, you have to reach prospective students. Like every institution, Dalhousie, TAMCC, you recruit. You try to get students to come into programs, and I think the messaging that you have to, you can't tell them that they will generate wealth and make money. You need to show them they will, which means your marketing materials has to not feature pictures of the instructor in a classroom. Your marketing, you have to have a success story, ambassadors saying, you know what, I started a beekeeping operation 5 years ago and I just built my first house, right? That's the messaging that will attract young people because they have a choice of programs, right?
In addition to that, I think you have to put money into their pockets. So we just finished a 5-year project in Uganda, and the model was so successful that our students were coming out after 2 years with complete businesses. They were hitting the ground in the market. They were hiring people. They were employers, and they had money in their pockets. So it was part of that training program. It was an agro-processing and entrepreneurship program that they were able to look at the market and build a business. So once you start putting money in their pocket, even when they're in school, other students start transferring in. They're like, hey, what are they doing over there, right? We can do it too. So
think of the tomato example. I said a young person doesn't grow the tomatoes. They buy the tomatoes, perhaps not the ones that are no longer able to sell on the shelf or in the market because they're a bit soft, and they make a sauce out of it, spaghetti sauce, something like that. They sell it. They'll get hungry for money because they're making money, but then they'll possibly will think, well, why don't I grow the tomatoes? Why am I going out and buying the tomatoes to make my sauce? Why don't I get involved in production as well? So it isn't that you have to start in production, then do value addition. You might do value addition and then decide, you know what, I'm going to grow the primary product that I'm using in my processing. So they need to, you have to quantifiably demonstrate that agriculture is viable and it is a way to make money. Otherwise, they'll say I want to work at a government job, or I want to sell cars, or I want to import computers, or whatever it is, those other things that they can do. They need to see that agriculture is not only a noble existence because it's food security, it's a nation's security, but also that it will put money in their pocket, and they won't survive, they'll thrive.
Passing back the mic again to a brother in National College, because I believe in the next you have to be the energy pumping up. I like to say shock therapy perhaps have to be used in our system to get our children that come out to school. I think the hardest thing is when you have the land and then your children stay away from it. But it happens in all parts of the world, People tend to move away from the farm. So my brother in the hot seat here, so I'll give him the hot mic.
Thank you again, Mr. Pierre. Again, when we think about farming and we think about agriculture in Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique, and as I said in the areas that we've highlighted before, to incentivize persons to get into agriculture, we are looking at different strategies. And again, marketing is one where we could actually do face-to-face marketing, go out to our young people in the schools. We also would invite them to open day at the college. But we are in the process where we are growing, we are developing. So we are putting the systems in place to be able to attract persons. So for example, well-sanitized pens with hybrid pigs, that's one in livestock. When we talk about poultry, both broilers and layer production, partnering with industry to ensure that industry is also putting the data out there. For example, the need for eggs. I mean, look at what's happening in the United States right now, where you have one disease that is wreaking havoc on farms and the price of eggs that are going up. Now in Grenada, we have lessons learned. And as an institution, as I said earlier, we want to be a research institution as well. So we'd be able to guide our students who would become experts, then would guide our farmers, or they themselves who are farmers, to understand precautionary measures that they should be taking when they are actually managing their business or their farms. So again, like I said, for our persons, young persons and even farmers that are right now in the business, is that to look at TAMCC as an entity that help you build capacity, be it retraining or you want to head into a new area. And again, the partnerships we are creating is not just in Grenada. That's why we have our international partners here, to look to see how we can collaborate. And in areas where we have to build our own internal capacity at TAMCC so that they are exposed to best practices in the industry. I myself visited Dalhousie a couple times, and I've been at the School of Agriculture in Truro. I was able to see the facility and the kind of entrepreneurial activities there and the support that were given to farmers or even business people in general. When you look at their poultry facility, where their livestock facility, for example, ruminants, and the kind of science and the training that students are exposed to, we believe a partnership like this would benefit not only TAMCC but Grenada as a whole. And there are several areas that they are experts in, and we'll be able to actually learn from them. And it's a two-way process. All right, we collaborate on various initiatives, but for our young people who are out there, we have the land in Grenada, we have the training at TAMCC, and we're asking you to access the training. Just to highlight, one of the initiatives we undertaken at the college within the last semester is for about 70 persons who were trained at the Maribor Farm School in general agriculture, and we're looking to train some more youths, especially in broiler and layer production. So we are looking at various areas we can build capacity, and we understand that St. Andrews, the breadbasket of the nation as it's traditionally called, the agricultural school is based in St. Andrews. So farmers in St. Andrews, once the programs become available, we're asking you to be there out there. We're using our social media pages, we're using the mass media to share with you when these trainings become available. But at the same time, personal development, we always preach that, and that's what the business we're in. So we're asking you to, we can help you to get to where you want to be. And that's what we are preaching right now. We can help you, and especially farming sector, but across Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. And we are going far afield. We're even saying for as far as the region, because TAMCC or the National College had a reputation in the past where persons came here to Grenada to get training, and we want to get back there. But we want to get back there in short order with high-quality training and to expose our students and our citizens to the kind of training that we know that can build various sectors, including the agriculture sector, in multiple areas, be it value-added or the traditional area as well.
Yes, my brother, this one is, tell us something about St. Lucia's success story.
Well, thanks. We worked for nearly 5 years on a project, actually with the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College, who offers associate degree programs, as well as the National Skills Development Center. So one was a preparatory school, and the other was a community college. We developed a partnership with them where we developed 2 programs. One was in climate smart crop production, focusing on high value crops. And then the second preparatory program was a CVQ2 agro-processing. So we focused on the drying of fruits, making of jams and jellies, spice rubs, juices, processing, using repurposing agricultural waste, like processing waste for new products. And both of those projects were quite successful, and we graduated many students who now have not only the ability to work in the labor force in agriculture, but also some of them will wish to start their own jobs and will be self-starters. We actually had an applied research project as well, which was quite interesting on looking at cover crops and which cover crops can be used in combination with plantain and dasheen to maximize production on a footprint, to get you the most revenue, but also in regenerative agriculture and maintaining soil health, reducing irrigation, all this stuff. It was a very interesting project. For us, I would say it's a normal project. It sort of follows the way that we work. We engage not only with our partners and support our partners to develop new programs, but we look at industry, we look at the labor market. Can these students get a job? Are they being trained in what industry needs and what agriculture needs? Are they staying ahead of the trends? And in our St. Lucia project, I'm confident to say that we were able to do that. We have had... I would say it should note that it's funded by the Government of Canada. A lot of our work, not all of our work, some of our work is by international financial institutions or in sort of cooperation with other partners. But in this case, in St. Lucia, it was a Government of Canada funded project, which I would say Canada is quite committed to the region, particularly when it comes to food security and economic security, and helping our partners to graduate students who have the skills. I would call it learning for earning, or education for employment. It's the worst thing you can do is train a student for a job that doesn't exist. So we have to make sure that when we're working with our partners, be mindful and really prioritize that student who spends 2 years of their life, and in many countries, education is not free. College education has a tuition and a cost attached to it, that when they graduate, they have those skills and that knowledge that can help them make money.
One of the other exciting things we've seen in region, the exciting opportunities, is to look at some of your waste products. Like you've got coconuts and you've got coconut husks that sit on the roadside and rot. You've got an opportunity to make compost. You've got fruits that fall on the ground and rot that the dogs don't even want to eat in some countries because there's too many mangoes. So what are those opportunities to look at your waste products and turn those into gold? So to regionally approach it, looking at agro-processing and how to economize that, and to teach youth how to make money on some of those waste products. So I think there's a really exciting opportunity there.
My brother, the farmers in our country start to talk about National College of Pride. National College Agriculture Program. About how long from now you think our farmers in the country going to start to talk about National College Agriculture Program with pride?
I would thank you again, Mr. Pierre, and again for those persons who don't know me, Andrew Abraham. I'm the principal of TAMTC. So we have already started. We are partnering with the Ministry of Agriculture. We are very grateful for the partnership with the Ministry of Agriculture. Of course, the support from the Ministry of Education. We are partnering with all government sectors. And we have already started the program, and farmers already start to realize the impact of TAMCC on their own operations here. But we will be doing more. What I would like to share with the public is that coming in the new academic year, we'll be incorporating CVQ type training. The institution is in the process of becoming a CVQ center, approved center by the National Training Agency. We have that kind of ambition. We also pursuing accreditation as well. But what we want farmers to know is that we have several programs in the pipeline coming to them. And as I said earlier, for them to be listening in, and we are going to use mass media. We're going to use our own media to share the programs, the exciting programs that some of what was hinted to here or alluded to by our colleagues from Dalhousie University. We'll be looking at general agriculture and the non-traditional agricultural system that you can incorporate in your traditional agricultural system. When I speak about traditional agriculture, we have nutmeg, cocoa, banana farmers, we have short crop farmers. We're talking about lettuce, growing lettuce in a hydroponic environment, which is water-based and not soil-based, protected. It's in a shade house, protected from pests and other diseases that can affect these. And again, we're talking about the rainy season. We no longer have these seasons clear-cut. So when you have too much water for the land, so you have controlled agricultural environment. That is where TAMCC is positioning itself to provide support to our agricultural sector. But more importantly, we want to be able to be the training institution for our farmers in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. And we are not shy about our ambitions to become a regional center of excellence. So for our farmers could look forward to not just a top training institution locally, but we want our regional accreditation as well. So at least we can compete among our peers. We are not shy of that as well. Okay.
We're just almost to the end of the program, so we're going to close the program today with the gentleman in charge at TAMCC. But we're going to take the comments from our sister first, and then our brother, and then Studio Galaxy would end this section of the agriculture program with a man we want to lead this game in Grenada, the TAMCC, the principal of TAMCC. When you say that's the energy, we want that energy in agriculture, because here we provoke discussion. So we're turning the mic to our sister, and then our brother, and then the chief.
Yes, thank you. So I've had the pleasure of working with Andrew Abraham, the principal of TAMCC, since 2013. And we look forward to being able to explore Grenada more and look at what your opportunities, what your challenges, what some of your gaps are in agriculture, and then together looking for solutions on how we can work through those to grow your economy and get your youth engaged again in agriculture. So it's only our first time, but it won't be our last time to Island. So thank you very much for inviting us.
Excellent. Thank you. This, you're sitting in a giant garden, right? This is what you stand too long, you'll start to grow branches. So agriculture isn't an issue here. I think things will grow. It's finding how can young people participate in it? How can you have food security? How can you make more from agriculture? I mean, and part of it is youth. We focus on youth and how do we get young people into it? I would say there's also a lost generation. There's a generation of 40 to 50-year-olds out there who didn't engage in agriculture, who left, who might have moved to town, they still have land. They have family land. So getting that, and I think you see that, I'm an example of that in Canada. It wasn't until I was 45 that I went back to my farm, and now I've got some chickens. We're going to get bees soon, and eventually I'll end up with goats probably too. So I think it isn't just the youth. I think we need to look at people that want to get back to the land. I think we want to get young people started on the land, and that's all training. As I said, you asked why don't people have goats, or what do we have to do, or should we have goats, or should we have ruminants? The land's there, the people are there. I think it's the training, it's the how, and helping people get over that sort of first risk that they have to take, which is knowledge and skills. And we really look forward to working with our partners throughout the region, and particularly with TAMCC and Grenada, and figuring out what are the skills that are needed and what is the role, and how can Dalhousie help with that.
Again, thank you very much for accommodating us, facilitating us this morning here. So we really appreciate that. And again, for our prospective students and our partners out there, the T.A. Marisho Community College is ready and is willing to provide that training capacity for you and your entity, be it a small farmer or be it a high school student who is thinking about college or tertiary institution or career in agriculture. Just understand the T.A. Marisho Community College is there. And again, we are not just doing it for you to do it at the associate degree level. We know we have ambitions to venture out into various levels of certification, but we have partners like Dalhousie University 120 years experience in agriculture. We are students who wants to go up to the degree level, at least bachelor's, master's degree level, to create that kind of partnership and pathway so that they can aspire to, greater things and come back as scientists and be able to help in the research aspect of agricultural training. And we know that there are several other industry, or all other industry directly related to agriculture. So be it a student who wants to get in agriculture business, who want to become a scientist, a researcher, or just a general practitioner, be it traditional agriculture or non-traditional agriculture. And again, take the opportunities that are available to you with livestock as well. TAMCC is managing the pig breeding program, and we are looking to increase the pig stock on the island. We have that responsibility, and we take it very seriously. So again, our application period is open. So please go on our website and complete your application for the new academic year. And we're looking forward to see you either on the Tantin campus, Maribor, St. Patrick's, or in Carriacou.
Thank you very much, and that's where our first part of our program ends today on the agriculture program. We provoke discussion. We want people to discuss this issue, come up with answers. We don't have all the answers, but all of us together could address the challenges that we are facing. Thank you, brothers and sisters.
Thank you.